What is up, guys? So today I have for the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6, and it has been almost 8 months since I got my hands on this device, and today I'm going to be giving my 8-month review, kind of just saying how different aspects of this phone has held up, if I can still recommend it to you, and overall, if this is still the phone that it was when it released or if it's gotten better over time. So let's get started. I do just quickly want to say thank you for clicking on this video, and after you watch the video, and if you like it, if you would consider subscribing to my channel, that would mean a lot to me. So let's get into the video. So at the time of recording this video, the Galaxy Z Flip 6 has been out for almost 8 months now, and it's been a great experience with this phone. I have experienced a few minor issues, a few inconveniences, and I'm going to talk about all of those in today's video. Let's start off with probably one of the most important aspects of this foldable phone, and that is the screen. So let's just give you a listen to the hinge real quick. As you can hear, there is quite a bit of crackling noise, which sometimes is worse, sometimes isn't that bad. If you do let this phone sit like overnight or something, you will experience pretty bad crackling once you open it. Let me let it sit for a little bit and then I'll open it and see if I can show you guys. Okay, it's been a little bit now. Let's give it an open. My dog just barged in, bro. Okay, well, I hope you heard that. I guess that's a little bit more than it was before. But yeah, so I do have a crackling noise. I previously believed that it was the screen protector and not the actual screen, but now I'm actually starting to think that it might be a part of the screen. So far, this phone hasn't had any actual issues with the screen. That crackling problem has been happening since I bought the device back in July, so no really major issue there. And I will definitely let you know if anything does happen with the screen, but so far, the screen itself, there are obviously 0 black spots. Let's give you just a quick little look at the screen. There you go. There are no like flickerings when I close the screen. If there's any weird rainbow coloring, that's just like the reflection on the panel and then like the camera thing, so that's not actual any like discoloration of the screen. As you can see, the screen itself is completely fine, just that kind of weird crackling sound. So now for the overall, I guess, longevity of the rest of the device, honestly, it's, as I almost drop it, it's actually been pretty great. There's no major scratches on the sides, which I had a really bad issue on the Z Flip 5 with scratches on the side and especially on the back of the device. There are only like a few small, I wouldn't call them chips because you can't actually feel anything, but as you can see, some spots where something or another rubbed up against the glass and it just kind of made those marks, which is kind of strange. And then on the aluminum here, you could kind of see what appeared to be a little, you can kind of see it at the right side of it. There's like a little bit of a scratch, kind of. Can't really see it that well on camera though. And then on the front of the screen, actually let me get some of the dust off of it real quick. Okay, so then here you can see there is that line. There we go. There is that line of like, I guess kind of the same thing that we had at the back from the case rubbing up against it. But I don't quite know why. I feel like the fact that it's an official Samsung case, it should have more protection. So I think what I'm going to do with the next generation of Samsung's foldable, I think I'm just going to get a second-hand like case. So if you know of any good case manufacturers for the Flip, let me know down in the comments. I'll definitely check those out. And yeah, other than that, I have a screen protector on the cover screen. As you can see, it got pretty beat up. And I think it was definitely a good thing because this phone gets tossed around easy. Just because like, I think because it's such a small form factor, it's just very easily tossable. Whenever I have the case in it, I do kind of chuck it around, which probably isn't that good, but it's just, I guess, what I do sometimes. So when it comes to the durability on this Flip, it's actually been pretty great. The only problem that I've encountered is the previously mentioned like crackling in the hinge, but other than that, there's been nothing else that's wrong with this phone. Overall, I would call that a win. Now let's actually talk about another kind of important aspect about this phone and kind of something that I think is more relevant than people think it is. Like, not a lot of people are talking about it, which is kind of surprising, and that's how does this form factor actually change your life, or how does it actually impact your daily life using this phone? And it's interesting. So obviously this phone folds in half. That's pretty much why you would buy this phone over any other device out there. And it's a great concept, and it makes a great phone. The reason I say it's a great concept is because I feel like a lot of other phone manufacturers make these flips, but they don't make them correctly. A lot of people say that Motorola's Razr is better than this flip. I don't quite see how that actually is valid, because like Motorola, sure, it might be a good phone. It has a quote less noticeable crease, which you do still feel the crease, and the crease is a lot better on this Galaxy Z Flip 6. I won't really talk about it too much because I feel like a lot of people, including myself, have already covered that. But the Motorola's just feel cheap. They look cheap. They sound cheap. They feel cheap, which they just feel so cheap. And like the camera quality, it might be good. It's just not as finely tuned as Samsung's is, because Samsung just has been in the foldable market longer, and they know how to make a solid foldable, and this definitely is that. It feels so solid in the hand with the aluminum frame and the really nice frosted glass backing. Has a little bit more of a boxy, or like I guess edge, or like side rails, which I'm a big fan of. I think it makes the phone feel so solid and really premium. Okay, but now let's actually talk about if this phone actually like makes a difference in your everyday life. So yes, it kind of does, because it may not be every day that you're going to notice these differences, but say you want to watch a movie or like YouTube or something, not necessarily a movie, but you can just prop it up, just leave it there, and have the phone like display content on half of it. Say if it's on a table or something, you can just like look at it. It's so nice just to prop it up and not have to worry about it, especially if it's something you're listening to and you might want to glance over, like a vlog or something, or I don't know, just some sort of situation like that. It just makes it so nice. And something that's even nicer to utilize is the cameras. So obviously this is pretty much its own tripod, a pretty big feature of this flip, kind of always has been. And it's so nice because you can obviously see the content on this screen by folding it and stuff like that. You can use it for taking long exposure shots, like for night photography, stuff like that, or for group pictures, something like that. And you can also try to look at it. And, okay, there you go. I'm trying to look through the screen and figure out where it is. And here, obviously, I'm sure as you know, you can see your camera footage from your cover screen, which is actually really fun and just nice to use. And you can also take selfies with the cover screen, which is just a really fun feature. If you have the Galaxy Ring, you can use it just to take pictures, stuff like that, hands-free, or you could just show it your hand. And it will take pictures hands-free, and it's just a really fun way to use this phone. So that is a really great aspect of this phone, being able to fold it and prop it up, stuff like that. Those are probably the biggest things that I find myself using. You can also like kind of use it as like a clock, almost like a bedside clock. If you just like prop it up and let it sit, you can use it to look at the time quickly. It kind of reminds me of Apple's Standby, a similar concept of just placing your phone like just on its side and just letting you be able to see the time at a glance. Kind of similar concept, or at least similar use case. And I'm a pretty big fan of it. You can also prop it up this way if you would like, and it will just flip over, so you could prop it up like that if you want. Also, another pretty important aspect of this phone being small and being able to fold mostly appeals towards women, but it's the fact that it can fit into small pant pockets, which small pockets are most commonly utilized in like women's clothing or stuff like, or if it's like a small handbag or something like that, or just overall taking up a smaller profile in your pocket. Now, a lot of people are saying that this phone is so bulky when you add a case and stuff like that. And sure, Samsung could trim it down a little bit, but without a case, it's a similar size to an iPhone 16 Pro with a case on. And even when you put a case on this phone, it is thicker than it obviously was before, but it's still not all that thick, and it's not thick enough or chunky enough to really like make any big difference. Like if you see the camera protection on the iPhone, it pretty much has the exact same thickness of this phone with the case on, and you're not going to notice that it's thick when it's in your pocket, especially because it is taking up less overall real estate. Now, let's talk about the overall battery life and performance of this phone, especially after so long, because a lot of people are saying, you know, the battery can deteriorate over time, performance can start lagging as newer operating systems come onto this phone, which sometimes require more battery usage than previous versions of OS. And I'm happy to say that this phone has gotten better battery life than it had before. I actually think it's thanks to the new One UI 7. Even though this is still in beta on this phone, I feel like it's a lot better when it comes to battery life on this phone. It is at 55%. I did charge it a little bit before filming this video. I'll put the battery like usage and screen on time and stuff on screen so you can see that for today's cycle. So you can see that for today's cycle. So I'll let you look at that. As for the specs on this battery, it's rocking a 4,000 milliamp hour battery cell, which is pretty decent. If Samsung did utilize like stacked battery technology, they would be able to fit a much larger battery into this phone. I think it's a pretty solid range for this phone. This phone does utilize the same battery capacity as Samsung's base S25 regular, so I think it's a pretty fair battery size. So yeah, when it comes to battery on this phone, you can definitely expect over a day of usage with like moderate to heavy usage and 2 days with light usage. So it's definitely a pretty great phone for battery life. Not the best that Samsung has to offer, but still really solid. So as for performance on this phone, this is also another aspect of this device that has been improved as time goes on, especially thanks to the new One UI 7, which now allows this phone to open and close apps a lot faster than you could previously, which of course this isn't a like necessarily valid like point of, I guess, a way to measure speed on a smartphone, but I think it's just the fact that you can do that if for whatever reason you want to. Pretty unrealistic, but it's nice that you can. And just overall, this phone is still fast, and I think with One UI 7, the new animations and everything just makes it feel a lot faster and a lot smoother with a way less hiccups and just overall a better experience. Now, as for actual performance, this Galaxy Z Flip 6 utilizes the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Yeah, okay, it uses the Galaxy 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy. Sorry, I'm used to talking about the Galaxy S25 Ultra, but yeah. So it does utilize Qualcomm's last generation processor, which is still a super fast chipset, and I haven't had any major hiccups with this phone. Like, it hasn't lagged, it hasn't crashed, which is really important, and it's just something that should be expected to come standard on a phone that's almost $1,000. Now, let's also talk about the camera quality, because this is something that's really great and also really bad. The Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6, I'm sure as you know, has a total of 3 cameras, a front 12 megapixel selfie camera, and a rear set of cameras. One is at 12 megapixels for the ultra wide, and the 50 megapixel is the main lens. And the back cameras, they take great photos. The Galaxy Z Flip 6 actually ironically takes better photos than the S24 Ultra and the S25 Ultra. I think this phone just takes better pictures than those two Ultra phones. I think it's just the colors that I prefer a lot more. Now, obviously, you can tweak the colors by just adding filters and stuff after, but I think a raw picture that is the exact way you want it is what Samsung should be aiming for. So overall, when it comes to the cameras, I think it's just an awesome experience, especially considering that you can just use the phone to take pictures from the cover screen, use it as a selfie camera. I think it's just such a great way to take really high resolution selfies. Now, however, the bad part is that selfie camera. So it is a really great selfie camera. It does take good pictures, but just like look at that. Let me like quickly clear it off, but there really isn't anything on it currently. So as you can see, like it's pretty good quality, but it's just not anything that's like super good. It adds like some kind of weird lines to your face and just overall isn't really the best quality. I'll put some pictures on screen that were taken from the back and the selfie camera just so you guys can see that and kind of compare. But yeah, overall, I think the selfie camera could definitely use a really big upgrade, but the rear-facing cameras are really great and perfectly fine as is. And I'll put some pictures and videos that I've taken on screen so you guys can see that. So let's get to those pictures and videos.
Is this the highest thing in the city?
Okay, so St. Louis is actually a really nice city. Look at this. We're literally right next to the arch. You got the Mississippi ever.
It's pretty cool.
Okay, let me know what you think of the camera quality down in the comments, and let's move on. Okay, and somebody also asked me to try out the speakers on this phone, so let's go ahead and do this. Hopefully, the music isn't copyrighted. Which one do you think has ultimately the better sound quality? I think the Z Flip 6 actually has really good sound, but maybe the iPhone is just a touch more like full, I guess. But other than that, the Z Flip 6 definitely has some great speakers. Okay, so those are pretty much like the most important things that I think I should be talking about when giving a long-term review of this phone. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything else that you think that I should cover. So for my conclusion, this phone is awesome. You can pick it up like refurbished or just, I guess, new, but like from somewhere else or from Samsung's website for significantly cheaper than the price that it launched at. You can pick it up for around $500 if you buy it refurbished or somewhere else. I'll leave the best links down in the description. Samsung is always putting some sort of trade-in deals or just like straight out like discounts on this phone for $300-400. So definitely go check it out. Like I said, I'll leave some links down in the description if you're interested in picking it up. And overall, I can definitely recommend this phone to you. It's been an awesome experience. It has great cameras. I love the form factor. It's just really great, and it's definitely one of my favorite phones that has released within the past 2 years. And it's just overall such a great phone that I'm actually pretty sure I'm going to switch to it from the iPhone 16 Pro as long as this beta proves to, be stable and stuff. So yeah, overall, I can definitely recommend the Z Flip 6 to you. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, definitely go ahead and consider subscribing. That would mean a lot to me. And check out some of my other videos. YouTube will think you will like the ones that are on screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one, and I'll see you there. Bye, guys.